Ladies and gentlemen and photographers, we're going to do naming conventions. So here's the deal. You need to find your work. When you're working in a team, other people need to find your work. You don't want to copy over, lose, or have two versions of your work. I had this happen one time. I had a kid who got a camera, had a fresh flash drive in it. He went out, took a picture, and named the picture 001 picture, and he dragged it into his folder. And then he got another camera, and it happened to have a fresh flash drive with no pictures on it. He went out and took a picture, chick. Okay, that picture was named 001 picture. He grabbed it, dragged it into his folder. He deleted the first folder or the first picture, and his work was gone. He was really upset. Okay, another thing is, this is a little sad. It's quite sad. But my mom and dad passed away a while back, and I did a video slideshow for their funeral. And I learned from that it took a long time to do the video slideshow. And if I had kept the names of the pictures organized a lot better right from the get-go, I would have saved hours and hours of time. So I'm trying to teach you some things that are good so that you can find your work, so that others can find your work, so you don't lose your work, but also to make projects like a video slideshow faster. Okay, answer this question in your notes. Put this at the top of your notes. When you're editing a photo in Photoshop, let's see if we can move this. Can you add the Photoshop project to your video slideshow in DaVinci Resolve? So we're going to do a video slideshow in a program called DaVinci Resolve. It's going to have sounds, it's going to have your pictures, you're going to have a video, you're going to add videos to it, and it's going to be like a little movie showing off your pictures, right? So if you're in Photoshop and you're editing this picture, can you put the Photoshop picture into DaVinci Resolve? And the answer is probably not. That is a project that's not finished yet. Right? When you're finished with that Photoshop project, you're going to save it. You're going to do something like this. You're going to go File, Export. Well, no, we'll probably do Save As, and you're going to save it as a picture folder file that you can put on the internet, or you can put in a video. So you would save it as a JPEG, as a PNG, as a TIFF. Those are finished picture files that you can put on the internet, or you can put into your video slideshow. Okay, next one. Write this down in your notes. So a file is something like a project or a picture. It's a single thing. Files go into folders. Folders are where you organize your files. So every file has an extension. A .jpeg, that's a picture. .ai, that's an Adobe Illustrator project. PSD is Photoshop document, right? So the file extension tells Windows what app to open that file with. And all these files get stored into folders. So I have a folder, and that folder contains and organizes the files. Okay, write this down in your notes. If you were working on a video slideshow in DaVinci Resolve, could you upload that project to TikTok? And the answer again is no. When we're working on a project, it's not finished. It's not in the final format yet. And so what we'll do is this. So what you'll do is this. So here's my video slideshow, right? So all the pictures that we're taking are going to go in here. We go in the assets folder. These are all going to go into the video slideshow. But what we're going to do is right here in the project folder, we have our video slideshow. That's our project folder. We're going to have the DaVinci Resolve file, right? This is our project. And when we're done, in the same way we saved a Photoshop document as a PNG or a JPEG, a finished thing, we're going to save this as a MOV or a WMV. We're going to save it as a finished movie, and that's what we're going to be able to put on TikTok, or that's what we're going to be able to put on YouTube, or that's what we're going to be able to send to other people, and they're going to be able to look at it. Okay, what different types of assets are you going to need for a video slideshow? Well, I kind of already talked about it. See if you can figure it out. All right, write this down in your notes. Files and assets folder. Every project gets a folder. Write this down. Okay, so let's go back to this one. What different types of assets? You're going to need audio assets. You're going to have songs. Picture assets. You're going to have pictures, and you're going to add video to it. Video assets. Okay, so that's the answer to this. So what I'm talking about with this, every time we create a new project. So for example, we're going to have a whole unit called video design, and we'll have multiple projects, but each project gets a folder. Video slideshow gets a project folder. Our project goes in there. Okay, the finished movie goes here when we're totally done, but then we have our assets folders in here as well: audio, picture, and video assets. Okay, so write this down in your notes. Make a folder. Now I want you guys to do this. Okay, so I want you guys to do this. Go into your folder called Creative Computers. Okay, and you're going to click New. Okay, and you're going to create a folder called Video Design, or if you want to, you can put an underscore. Either way, I'm going to hit No. Okay, so I already did it. So we're going to make a folder called Video Design, and inside there, we're going to make a folder for our project called Video Slideshow. Okay, so you can do it with or without an underscore. And inside of Video Slideshow, you're going to make 3 folders for our assets. We're going to have audio assets, picture assets, and video assets. Okay, so make those folders. It should look like this: Creative Computers, Video Design, Video Slideshow, and then inside here, audio, picture, and video assets. Okay, go ahead and do that. All right, and then continue on. It should look like this. It should look like this up at the top. I already showed that to you. Oh, you can't see me. Who cares? You guys don't want to see me. I don't know why I even do that. Okay, here we go. Now, when we're naming files and folders, here's some naming conventions. Use underscores instead of periods or spaces. So you could say portrait, John by the tree. A period indicates a file extension. So we don't want to use periods in our names, right? So we're always going to have a period at the end right before the file extension, but we don't want to put a period in the name because it'll confuse it, like, oh, where's the file extension? All right, rule number 2, keep it short but still describe it well. So make it as short as possible, but make sure you give all the necessary information. Number 3, the file should include all necessary descriptive information so that you can figure out what it is even if you move it to a different folder. So let me show you an example here. Okay, let me see if I can find this thing. No, that's not it. Here we go. All right, here it is. Okay, so for example, let's say I had a folder called this, Project 1. Okay, not enough information. Project 1 for what? Is the Project 1 for Photoshop, for Illustrator, for what is it for? Who knows? So it doesn't have enough information. Okay, so make sure you have enough information. File name should include all this. So you've got, okay, so also, so for example, if I go in here, so if I go into this folder, this file is called Worksheet 1. Well, Worksheet 1 for what? Well, I know it's Worksheet 1 for Photoshop because it's in that folder, but what if it gets moved out of the folder? So this probably should be named Worksheet 1 Photoshop. Okay, so there's an example. All right, write those down in your notes. All right, include a version number, be consistent, use capitals and file names to make it easier to read, stay organized with folders that are also named well, leave the file extension alone so that everything after that dot, those 3 letters after that, leave that alone. Otherwise, Windows won't know what to do with it. Let's talk about a couple of things. A good idea is, let's see, let me go here. A good idea is to include a version number. So for example, if I'm going into my picture assets and I'm working on rule of thirds, right? And then I take this picture, I open it up in a Photoshop and I edit it. It's probably a good idea to name the edit version 3 just because, like, oh, you know what? I actually like the original version better. And so you can go back to your original version. So it's good to put a version number, and it's also good to have backup copies of things. So make a habit of doing that. Okay. Good. Okay, write this down in your notes. This is a portrait perspective, so it's like when you're taking a picture of a person, normally it's taller than it is wide. If you're doing landscape, so those are different perspectives in photography. All right, so here's the quiz. Answer this quiz question, answer this, answer this, answer this, answer this. Okay, what is wrong with number 1? Let's take a look here, see if I can find it. Okay, what's wrong with number 1? I named this folder. What's wrong with that? Answer that question. Okay, what's wrong with number 2? What's wrong with number 3? What's wrong with number 4? What's wrong with number 5? What's wrong with number 6? Number 7? And what's wrong with number 8? Okay, see if you can figure that out. And then, okay, so I want you to add your photos to picture assets folder like this. Put the rule that it follows, underscore what the picture is of, underscore your name, underscore, and then the version number, and then leave the file extension alone. Okay, so I want you to get all your pictures, and just like this, I want you to name them like this. The rule it follows, a description of the picture, your name, and then the version number. This is a little overkill, but I'm just having you practice doing it. So, and then to get points, you're going to press on the keyboard Control Alt Print Screen. Okay, you're going to go to Control Alt Print Screen. You're going to go to Paint.net, and I'm going to just go to Photoshop because it's already open. And I'm going to press Control V. Control V. Let's see if why that didn't work. Okay, I don't know what happened. Let's try it again. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to press Control Alt and Print Screen. Print Screen's at the upper right of the keyboard. Press them all at the same time. And then I'm going to go to Paint.net. I'm going to press Control and V, and I'm going to say Expand Canvas. Okay, so there it is. So there's the picture. And here's what it's going to show, that you have your video design, video slideshow, picture assets, and then the pictures are all named according to the naming conventions. And then I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG or a PNG. And that is the file. Give it a good name. Save it. That's the file I'm going to turn in to get points. Okay. Okay. That's it. Oh, the only other thing. So that's it. If you want me to, though, I'm going to go over the answers to these. You can be dead now, but if you want me to go to the answers, what's wrong with number 1? It doesn't have enough name. It doesn't have enough information. Project 1 for what? Okay. What's wrong with number 2? Way too long. What's wrong with number 3? Not enough information. Okay, and it's also not consistent, because if you look at all these, it had the name, it had whether it was a portrait or not, and so on and so forth. This one has a period, which we should just leave the period at the end for the extension. What's wrong with number 5? It's inconsistent, because on all these we put the description, and then we put whether it was a portrait or landscape. Number 6, we didn't capitalize the letters. Number 7, we messed with the file extension. We deleted the file extension, so we don't know what it is. And then if we go to number 8, it was in the Photoshop folder, but we didn't name it Worksheet 1 Photoshop, so if it got moved out of the folder, we wouldn't know what it was. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.